All right, so we just started this amazing interview with Bianca Joseph. Um, Very privileged to have her here. You might see my camera going a little bit wonky. Don't know what's going on with it, so I'm going to try to stay very still. You guys know that might be a little difficult for me, but my name is Tanya Patxot. I am also known as the Truthpreneur, where I have a passion of helping thought leaders simplify their life and streamline their business, right? So it's to get clarity, to be productive, and to see daily results. And I started this show and, just igniting clarity because I really wanted to display those moments of truth that entrepreneurs have, that moment of truth that, that really shaped and shifted their life. And so we have really interesting entrepreneurs here that are talking, amazing thought leaders that are talking about those moments that, whether personal issues or just even reading a book or, it just as simple or as complicated, doesn't matter. Moments of truth can happen at any point in time. And today, I have an amazing guest, a wonderful strategist like myself. So that is awesome. We think alike. And so we have had some really cool conversations, and I'm sure more to come. So Bianca Joseph, why don't you come on out, introduce yourself, and quickly tell us what you do before we jump into your moment of truth.
Sure. Hello. Hey, Tanya. Hi, everyone. It's so awesome to be here. I'm excited and I'm looking forward to sharing my moment of truth and also just how I got there and what I do. So my official title is Success Strategist for Startups. And what that really means is I'm a CEO creator. So what I do is I take people who have really awesome ideas and I help them come up with the right strategies to execute a vision that really aligns well with their purpose and what their vision is for their lives and for their business. And then the other side of that is I also help them stand out online. So I work with clients who have various businesses and lots of different topics, product-based, service-based. And most recently, I've been working with restaurants to build a really strong online presence. So I'm really stoked to be here and yeah, excited.
Awesome. So, whenever we're going through our life, I know that we had talked before about this. Whenever we go through our life, we have those moments of truth. We have those things that really shift us and shift our thinking or shift even our business. Sometimes it's so dramatic, we even rebrand everything and we go through all this craziness. And honestly, it's really an awesome thing. And many people get discouraged. And that's another reason why I did the show, is because they get discouraged at having these moments and thinking, why do I have to start all over? Or, why did this happen? Or maybe I'm really not cut out for this. And what they don't realize is it happens to every thought leader. It happens to every entrepreneur, period. That's just the process. We all go through the process. And so my question to you is, and you have a really good take on this. I know you have a lot that you've done in your life and that have gotten you to shift, but you wanted to come from this one perspective of the hereditary aspect. And I find it very intriguing and very interesting because of the fact that a lot of our generational lineage does affect our shifts and how we think and how we receive opportunities. And we sometimes can devalue the fact of self-development and push it and resist that because of the fact that it changes who we are per se, in the sense of some of the negative aspects that lineage has brought us in our mental thinking and our capacity. And so whether positive or negative. So I would love to hear your moment of truth when it came to business and life that really just shifted you for good, bad, and different, however it might have been. Can you tell us about that?
Sure, absolutely. Well, my background is in I want to mention one thing. I have a almost 2-year-old, and for anyone who has children, they go through different phases. Sometimes they can be quiet, but most of the time they're really loud. So if you hear anything going on outside the door, you'll know that she's out there like watching Sprout or something and really excited. So just wanted to let you guys know that. Anyway, my background is Jamaican. I come from a Jamaican background. I was born here in America. My parents are both from Jamaica. And what that gave me was an incredibly strong work ethic. I always tell people the story about how, I was really excited. I came home and I said, Dad, I got a B plus on this test. And he's like, well, why not an A? And it was like, no, I'd worked so hard, but it taught me that always strive for perfection. If you fall just a little bit below that, that's fine, but don't get excited about the B plus, work really, really hard for the A. And then, if then you'll be able to know that, you did as hard as you could, and then you got the B plus, as opposed to striving for the B. So what that did for me was it taught me to be incredibly disciplined, incredibly hardworking. But then on the other side of that, I struggled. I have had suffered with ADD for my entire life and didn't know that I had ADD until I was 25 years old. And so if you imagine from the time that I was a child to 25, I just felt like I just was a misfit. I couldn't get it together. No matter how hard I studied, I just wasn't able to really get to my highest potential. And growing up in a Caribbean family, you're always being pushed. Work hard, get an education, work hard, work hard. And for me, it wasn't easy. I will say that I excelled when I really was able to get focused on how to organize and be able to really put my mind to it. However, it took a really strong toll on me, on my self-esteem and on me emotionally. So I say all that to say that, like we talked about with hereditary thinking, sometimes in our background, our parents may not necessarily understand our mental struggles. And what it taught me was that I also had to really, really just take care of myself mentally. I read a lot of personal development books, a lot of things to help me to figure out why I was having such a hard time. And it really helped me to be more empathetic to others, especially as I got into college and I started to have issues with anxiety because of that stress of studying so hard and not really getting the returns I was looking for. And along the way, I met people who had the same struggles as me. And so as that relates to entrepreneurship, I realized that the status quo, education, all of that may not really be the place for me. Even if you do well at it, it doesn't mean that you feel good doing it and feel good there. So that's why I talk about the whole concept of really status quo busting. You don't have to, if school isn't for you, you don't have to get the PhD or get the master's or even get your college degree if you have something really deep inside of you that you want to share and something that you need to get out of you, just like how I had things I needed to get out of me. And that I put those into 3 businesses that I started over the years. We all have impacts that we can make. So yeah, that's, in a nutshell, that's kind of how I started.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
The truth of the matter is that is something that is extremely huge. Our family, our parents, they have that such an impact in our lives. They're like our first mentors, our first leaders, our first people that we look up to enough to want to either, model after or not model after. And so, what you've been through can be very hard. Can you tell us exactly how you overcame understanding that the negative aspects of that perfection mindset? While it's great to have that work ethic, the mindset that that you have now that's different, what exactly made you shift and say, you know what, it's okay to have great work ethic, but you can work smarter, not harder. You can, there's a lot of other aspects to this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The mindset shift happened when I was incredibly burnt out. I was working nonstop. I was a true Jamaican, as people say. I had countless jobs. I was running from one job to the next because I confused work ethic and working hard with burning yourself out and not having time for anything or anyone, and it just being all about success and working hard and making money and just being all about that. And it didn't feel good to me at all. And but because of what I had been taught, and always work hard, I didn't realize that you can work smarter and you should work smarter. As far as the mindset shift, I would say that I got to the point where I realized that perfection is something that does not exist. No one is perfect. Even the products that you put out, where your work product is not going to be perfect either, and that's perfectly fine. You really need to really focus on the impact that you're making and what feels good to you. I always say that get deep inside of your soul and figure out what feels good. And if it doesn't feel good, get rid of it. If it feels good, do more of it. And that was the shift that I had for me with perfection. And once I got rid of that, I actually started accomplishing more because I was really aligned well with what I did well in a shorter space of time, and stopped being so focused on what other people thought about me, and started to really take stock of my own the mental talk that was going on in my head. That's so important for anyone who's struggling with just getting started because they feel like they don't know enough, they need to know more, they need to do more, or things aren't perfect. Just get out there and just do it, because the perfection is it doesn't exist, But the longer you wait to get your message out to the world, the longer you wait to get your product out there, whatever it is you need to put out there to make an impact, the longer you wait, the longer your potential customers and clients are waiting for it. I really believe that God has put something so dynamic in each and every one of us. And he's just up there waiting for us to just fulfill his destiny within us.
Absolutely. I completely agree with that. And I love how you said that you were you were doing a lot, but yet you weren't accomplishing anything.
Absolutely.
Until you had the understanding, the clarity, and the strategy behind it, to where you said, okay, now I'm still doing a lot, but I'm accomplishing so much more, because you knew where to direct your energy, and you knew where to direct that focus to where it was going to yield you the results that you needed. And I love that perspective. I love that aspect. So something that intrigued me was when you were in that burnout, you said you were in that burnout place. Can you tell us more about that burnout place? Because I know that individuals might think that that is a part of the process. Now, while that is, because every entrepreneur goes through that aspect where they're like burnt out, but it's not a common thing that should happen. And I know for me, I prevent burnout by staying productive, keeping my task and the regimen of what I need to do, taking that time every Sunday. I plan out my agenda. I figure out what is going to happen for that week. What are my social calendar? What is my, what connections am I making? Who am I speaking to this week? What blog posts am I writing? What interviews am I doing? What is happening?
Yeah.
But when you were in that burnout stage, can you give us a glimpse of actually really what happened? What happened in that burnout stage? How did you really transition? How did you let things go? Give us that behind the scenes of your burnout.
Sure. Okay. So for me, my burnout happened twice. I would say before I became an entrepreneur, back in my early 20s, I was burnt out in terms of working multiple jobs, trying to, hit a certain income potential. And I realized that I wasn't speaking to my strengths. I had skills. One of the things that I was a paralegal at the time, and I worked as a paralegal. Then I worked at a restaurant at night, and then I did catering on the weekends. So I was working 3 jobs. I've always been really a people person and always had a lot of get up and go. So that was cool doing that. However, I realized that in my paralegal job, I was learning skills that I could use outside of work. And I created my first business, which was called Corporate Savvy. And what I did there was I taught entrepreneurs how to create businesses, how to do their legal documents. And when I made that decision to get really clear on, okay, you're really good at this at work. People outside of work are always asking you to do this. It's not a conflict of interest to create this company. Do that. And then the money that I was making from doing that allowed me to get rid of the 2 part-time jobs. And that's why that's one of the things that I talk about in terms of burnout. It's get really clear on what you're good at, what you're doing well, and see if you can monetize that so that you're not spending all of your time and energy working for someone else doing something when you could be using that time and energy to do something for yourself to help you hit some of the income targets that you have. Now, the second burnout happened in my current business when I became a success strategist. And what that looked like was me doing everything for my business and outsourcing nothing. So I was a DIYer. I mean, hardcore. And I was DIYing things that I knew nothing about. So I was spending hours and hours and hours researching online, reading, trying to figure out how to do things. I mean, my first website was a disaster because I was doing it myself. And I'm like one of the worst people to do any type of website development. I mean, it was a mess. And that along with just tons of other things with my business that I had no business doing. I was just wasting a lot of time. And what made the transition for me was a book called The Big Leap. And I cannot think of the author's name off the top of my head at this moment, but I'll definitely get it to you. A lot of people in our entrepreneur industry, they have read this book. And it talks about operating in your zone of genius. And when I read that, a light bulb moment happened for me, because I realized that working on my website and doing a lot of the virtual assistant duties that I was doing, just multiple things in my business, they were time wasters because they were not in my zone of genius. My zone of genius is creating content. My zone of genius is getting out and speaking to people and getting to know what they need from me. That's where I need to be, not learning a WordPress website or code or things of that nature. So for any of you who are spending hours and hours and hours doing things that you feel like you're never going to get it done because you just don't get it, find someone and pay them to do it. It is going to save your life and build your business. Absolutely.
Yes, yes. Oh my gosh. And I love how you're talking about your genius. And the book is The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks.
Yes, that's it.
And this is the thing. There is that wealth dynamic, that shift. And I love speaking about this. And I do this in my clarity consultations where we talk about, are you a detailed person? Are you a people person? Are you a creator? Like, there's different aspects of how you make money in your wealth dynamic. There's ways that you feed your genius. And it's so funny because I was in that one place too, where I just happened to be able to have the ability to design and create and do photography and everything. So I've always been a creator, very visual. And so I was able to do my website, now all these other things. I'm capable of doing a lot of different things. Mm-hmm. And what I noticed is, the one thing I did notice is I did need to learn these things. And this is where I talk about the 5 stages of clarity, because sometimes you do need to learn these aspects, because as a thought leader and me helping individuals, I'm going to have to, and even you as a strategist, you have to know what a website looks like, how it's not going to look good, how it's going to flow, what's going to be the aspect, social media, what is a strategy, what's good, what's not, what are the platforms about, and you have to kind of dive deep. But that doesn't mean that you can't subcontract people and get the education in the process of doing it to push back the learning curve. You can definitely get into it and ask a bunch of questions, your developer a bunch of questions to say, okay, well, how did you do that, and what's the process, and why did you need that? And so I love how you talk about the genius, because it is, you have to know how to flow. And I noticed with me, and I see it with you as a creator, you have to have a team around you. If you don't, it keeps you too far away from your point of creating. But your team needs to also keep you in a line so you finish what you start.
Yes.
And the details in one perspective, you can see the overall, but and that secondary profile might be the detailed aspect. But that you have to leverage a team. And so I totally agree with you. It's exciting to even hear you talk about that, because it is very, very important to understand how you create money,
Mm-hmm.
What is your wealth dynamic? What is your understanding of how to create your wealth according to your personality? I love it. So
Yeah, no, exactly. And I'm glad you brought that point up. With when I hired a web designer, one of our first conversations was the importance of me learning as she worked for me. Even when she created all of my all of my graphic design, I made sure that before we decided to move forward with our business relationship, that she understood that the goal was for her to create for me, but then also for me to learn, so that way I wouldn't have to call her all the time to make every little change. Or, I really wanted my business to be my website or something that could be plug and play. And so that's important with a lot of the different things that you need in your business. Be very clear with your vendor what your goals are and what you want. And then sometimes you're going to meet people who don't want to be very open with you and share with you on how to develop certain services. And they're just not the right person for you. You just move on and find another vendor. And I've been very blessed that everyone that I've worked with has been really, really open to teaching me things. And they know that it's not going to impact them financially, because I'm always going to continue to work with them. I just need to learn things too.
Okay, so I have 3 more questions for you. The one question I had was, I know some people, even in the interview, even the process now, might tune out because they're like, oh, all right, Bianca, I cannot afford to hire somebody or developer or this or that. And oh my gosh, the good part now is that from when you and I first started, I'm sure there's a lot more development of templates that are kind of like the done for you templates where you're just fixing stuff.
Yes.
Which is freaking awesome. And then you have Canva where you can just create graphics so easily.
Yep.
So, those are resources. Can you enlighten us on how you created some of the income that you did? Because like, I know even with my VA, my main one, I have one for the membership sites and all the other stuff. I do more of the Facebook advertising, that type of stuff. But my main one that works closely with me, it just came with, okay, what is the quickest way for me to do what I need to do and what I enjoy to do, and where's my flow? Coaching, consulting, okay, let's go for it. Yeah. And that brought in that stream of income. And sometimes it was a matter of, okay, you need branding design, I'll go ahead and do that. As a method to the end. How did you start generating? Because I don't think a lot of individuals think outside the box.
Yes.
To monetize their skills, to bring in income, because they're like, well, I don't want to do that. And it's kind of like, well, you don't have a choice at this point. If you want the freedom, do it for a period of time. So how did you do that to transition to be able to afford one?
Sure. Well, one of the things that I would say is focus on money making activities always. A lot of times, especially in social media, we think that we need to be spending our entire day in Facebook groups. We need to be posting this and Instagram and on Twitter and constantly posting, but we're not posting with a purpose. And that purpose is to generate money, to get clients, to get people engaged with us so that they can start to purchase our products and services. So that's what gave me the income to be able to hire people to do things for me. It was getting really, really clear on what my clients want. The whole ideal client avatar that you hear people talk about, it's really important. Figuring out exactly who vibes with you and who wants what you have to offer, and then giving it to them. One of that leads me to something that really worked for me was having that shift where I started to create passive income products. I'm actually launching my first one in April, and that was because I was finding that in my target audience, a lot of them didn't know much about coaching, or didn't really know what coaching was, or what they could get for this package. But what they did know is that if I gave them an online course, they could go on and do things at their own time. They can, a lot of them are working full time. They can build their business on their own schedule. With coaching, private coaching, it's not on their own schedule. We meet weekly. So that's one of the things that I say. Get really clear on who you want to serve, what they want from you, and what within all of that is in your zone of genius. So that way you can know exactly what to create for them quickly, so they can start to put money in your business, and then you can create more products for them and more things for them, and then it just becomes a really good cycle.
I love it. You know, it's so funny that you say that, because I created the clarity pack, right? And so, and it was so simple. It was like, okay, what are the 7 things that people constantly are asking when it comes to getting clarity?
Exactly.
Right? What are those things? Then what I did was I literally created the like on a Zoom. I literally recorded and made sure, because it provided me the audio, it provided me the video, made the worksheets, got everything, and then I sell it as a clarity package,
Yeah.
as a lower end product, you know, of literally they get it, and it's tutorials, hands-on walkthroughs. I'm talking about sharing my screen and walking through the how-tos of everything, of even scheduling your day or certain things. And what that did was, it also gave them a preliminary thing of, oh, I could work with her.
Exactly.
I like working with her, or I love how she tells me the technical aspect as well as the strategy. Like, she's able to do that. So what it did was, I played on my strong suit. Like what you
Yep.
said, I got in my genius. I showed, we're really good at developing strategies and fixing areas that might be broken. And so now, does that negate? I know a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, that negates my coaching. No, it doesn't, because you're the only one with that ability to strategize for them particularly.
Exactly.
So they can do these little tweaks, but they still need to understand what their genius is. They still need to understand how they function and what's best for them and what their best income producing activities are. What that challenge essentially does is create a little bit of clarity, so that way they're able to kind of breathe.
Yes.
So that way they can go deeper. So, you know, I would encourage anybody listening out there or watching to make sure that you just realize that I was actually just in a group where they were so fearful of giving their content, even paid content, because they didn't want somebody to take their strategy.
Wow.
Like, you are the creator of the strategy. You
Yep.
can always add to it. Don't be fearful. Pour everything, especially a paid product.
Yes.
The whole point of you doing it is to change their lives. So of course, everybody is a compilation of all the things that we've purchased, programs, books. All we did was twist it around to make it suitable for us and our personality.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Absolutely. And that's another moment of truth is for me was really getting out of that scarcity mindset, and realizing that this world is so abundant, and that nothing that is for you can ever be taken away from you. That is really important. Nothing that is for you can ever be taken away from you. So if something has been put inside of you, it's been put there for you to give it away. Always, always. Because if you're holding on to something so tightly and you're scared to share it because someone's going to take it or someone's going to steal it or something's going to happen, then you're only hurting yourself because you're holding it in tightly while other people are flourishing and doing them. You know, they're putting their stuff out there and they're creating that impact. I love the word impact because that is why I'm in business. I'm in business to make an impact. And by virtue of me making an impact, I'm able to make money, and then I can make an even bigger impact. So if you are so scared that someone's going to take take something away from you, you might as well just go ahead and sit in the corner and watch everyone else do it, because it's, you know, there's lawyers for copyright, right? You know, in terms of copywriting things and trademarks and all of that stuff, you know, get the legal stuff taken care of, but don't let it impede on your creativity and on your purpose and on your passion. Don't do it. It's not a good thing.
absolutely. And you know what? I've seen people that, like for instance, you deal with a lot of startups.
Yes.
Once they're done with you, you can pass them to me, because I don't really deal with startup. Like, I deal with, and you deal with some other things. I deal with the core of their day, or the core of certain things. So we are able to build relationships and bounce off of each other, and realize that, you know, while we're both thought leaders, we're both strategists, we're both this name, I like, whatever you want to call it. We have different gifts that actually together leveraged are very powerful. And so, and I'm actually I'm asking a lot of these questions about the clarity because I love this so much. I want to put this actually into my clarity package because I think that it is really awesome. I have a free challenge that goes on. It's a 7-day clarity challenge. And so I think that it's really awesome to put this in that free challenge because it's a really in-depth conversation. It's a really simple thing though, that individuals can see that, you know what, you're the only one stopping yourself from the clarity or from making the income that you need.
Yes.
And that, that's not an excuse because we can leverage anything. You can put, if you're a social media person, you can put, a social media package of a checklist kind of thing for each and every aspect of social media and put it together and sell it. I mean, these things happen all the time, and it allows you to brand. So my second to last question for you is this. A lot of individuals will say, don't have multiple businesses because it's almost like the multiple job thing. You're going to get worn out. What is your take on that?
I say go for it. I think that it's important to have multiple streams of income as long as you're able to allocate the right amount of time based on your strengths to each stream of income. So yeah, I think it's important for myself. I have my coaching. I also am working with a partner to do a hair extension line. I've done that in the past. And now I feel like I'm in a better position financially to do it the way I want to do it. But my role in that will be as an investor and as a strategist, not getting into the weeds of finding vendors, but there's someone else who will be handling that. I have my coaching, which is where I really put my heart and soul, and this is what I do on a day-to-day basis, is the coaching. And on top of that, now not only will I won't only do private coaching, I'm also building some passive income streams so that to be able to bring in additional streams of income in that particular business. And then lastly, I'm also moving into the restaurant space. So, and then my role there will be a limited role as well. But that's basically creating 3 different businesses to be able to bring income in, to be able to make the social impact that I want to make.
And the interesting part that you said that I see that ties into everything is, I don't know if anybody caught it, but it's multiple streams of income, but it is the same position. She's staying as a strategist. She's staying as that thought leader. She's staying in that vein. So even though she's just partnering and saying, okay, you do this aspect, I can give you the strategy, and it's like an affiliate program. I'll give you the strategy. I'll do the front end, but I get a commission off of your sales. I get a commission off of the things that you do. And this is where I do the same thing, guys. I have an affiliate marketing aspect of my business where if I'm using GetResponse or my blog or whatever, why not share it with people, the tools that I use to be able to do it? And I let you know I'm an affiliate. When you purchase this, that is going to help you and that you need anyway. I'm going to get a partial of that commission. So I have that stream. I have the coaching. But everything lies under the same thing. I stay as a strategist.
Yes.
It is what it is. And so I have the different things that I do and I might partner with, but no matter what, I stay as a strategist and I stay in my vein of my genius. I don't go anywhere from there. I create. I know that aspect of where I do. And so that is really huge. I like how you said, yes, go for it. But if you notice, she's not really building multiple businesses per se.
No.
She's advising. She's on their advisory board. She's helping strategize, and she gets an impact from that. She also said one thing that was really good. She said she is an investor.
Yes.
So when you want to as even in your wealth dynamic, when you want to scale anything up, you have to take a look at the best way to scale up is to invest into something. She invests into something that she's liking, the hair extensions, the things that she likes. Okay, that is something she likes. She's going to invest in that. The restaurant, she likes that. She's going to invest. She sees the value in it. We always have to invest. Everybody, it's like, they always talk about retirement, right? 401ks and all this other stuff. You obviously need to invest. the smart thing to do. And so I like that aspect that you brought too,
Mhm.
because it's very important for people to see that you're not just building multiple businesses just to build it, and you're not starting up these businesses where you're doing everything. It falls under the umbrella of Bianca Joseph. So like mine is the Truthpreneur or TanyaPatxot.com. But then I have my different branches of what I do. I still help graphic design and brand different websites and stuff. It does, but it doesn't take away
Mhm. Mhm.
from the overall. And if it has heavy graphic design that I don't have time for and I'm just strategizing, I let my husband do it because
Yeah.
that's what he likes to do.
Yeah.
So leveraging a team. So I really like that.
Yeah, and I just want to add one thing that you know, for your viewers, I often hear people say, and I have people come to me and they say, but I'm multi-passionate. You know, I really like doing this and I like doing that, and I'm really great at a lot of different things. And that's awesome. I think a lot of us are multi-passionate. However, just because you're multi-passionate doesn't mean you need 6 different businesses. Very important. You know,
Bridge
you
it together.
yes, you know, you can be really passionate in something, you can find someone else who's really, really passionate at one of those areas and work with them on an investment level and be able to still be involved, but not completely take a lot of your time. Where you're so your focus isn't on one particular thing. Your focus is everywhere. So then you become what they say, a jack of all trades and a master of none. Pick something. Just pick something and roll that out for a while, and then find other things that you like after you've really saw that one to completion.
And that is a big thing to bring things to completion and to make sure that that's why I always tell individuals, make your BiancaJoseph.com, TanyaPatxot.com, so you can branch off and make different extensions to
Yes.
build the main core aspect of it. Like for instance, she's a strategist. She built the strategist aspect of her business. That is who she is. Then what she did from there is she had other passions, so she branched off. Some you can find in her business, like
Yeah.
coaching and programs and other passive income. Some you can't. Some are in the back end of investments and things that she did where she's still able to do it. So there is a strategy and a way that you can do it that is great for your personality.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you so much for that. And just to go ahead and closing off on the interview, just thanking you so much for taking the time out of your day to just speak on this, and you really did bring a lot of amazing topics that are definitely one of those things that are passionate to my heart, that they do need to know, like people do need to know when they're building and going through that process, because most thought leaders are strategists for the most part.
Yeah.
They have that different message in the way that they're doing things, but they don't, because they have that message burning inside, they don't really always know how to bring it out, because it's hard to see your own strategy. That's why I have a coach. That's why you have a coach.
Yes.
You have to have one. They have to check. I always say that my coach watches out for my blind side. That's my thing. They're my blind side. They help me see what I might not be seeing, or slow me down. I just had my coach just slow me down for a second and say, okay, I want you to take a whole entire week break, and I want you to not do anything. I need you to just think things over and strategize. And I'm like, okay. And so I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And so, it's very important. So in closing, I love your moments of truth. They're amazing. And they're practical. And I really like that. There was a lot of practicality that was able to be brought to that. Things, little tips in here that if you really listen, you guys can really, carry those things out. Underneath this video, or MP3, if you're looking at on my podcast, anywhere attached to this piece of content, you will find all of the social media for Bianca Joseph. You will also find her freebie. You will find her website, everything about her passions, what she does. I have put it all out there for you underneath and in this podcast. So definitely you can reach out to her.
Yeah.
In closing, Bianca, what would you say from what you've shared today? In closing, 3 things, actionable steps, 3 things that you would just say to your audience that you've learned.
Sure. I learned that first I needed to get really, really clarity, what Tanya's talking about in terms of her challenge, getting clear on who I was or who I am, what I have deep inside of me to share, and who it's for. That's the first thing. Get really clear on that. The second thing I would say is take some time and figure out what you are good at, what your strengths are. The freebie that you're going to see is 5 ways to turn your strengths into a side business. Your strengths are very, very important. Figure out what you're good at. Ask family members, ask friends, ask people who you can trust, who will be honest with you about what your strengths are, because sometimes we don't know. I have a client who is an awesome at makeup, and she was forging forward in a direction completely opposite from makeup, when the makeup was actually her strength. So we were able to get clear on that. Like, you need to become a makeup artist. You're amazing at that. So I know other people struggle with that too. Figuring out, the things that come easy to them are sometimes they think, oh, that's not a big deal. It's easy. No, that's your strength. Forge forward. And lastly, get consistent. And what that is, an actionable step, I'd say, for getting consistent is a plan. Tanya talked about that earlier when she's working with her coach as well, being able to plan out your day. Pick a day and do some batch creation.
Yeah.
And also, the consistency is also going to come from you making the decision that you're going to stop doing things when you feel like it, or when the urge comes to you. Do it because you have to do it, because it's going to move your business forward. So just get consistent, post every day, create, get some things scheduled, get your content out there. That's what I would say. Those are the 3 things.
That's awesome. So as a recap, it is get clarity.
Yes.
Play on your strengths.
Yes.
And stay consistent.
Yep.
And I definitely have enjoyed this because it definitely speaks to my heart. That is my passion, to help get entrepreneurs, thought leaders clear on where they're going. I know that sometimes you need to tame that thought leader, inside, that visionary inside of you, right? Because the visionaries, we create, and it's like, oh my gosh, slow down, create one thing, see it out, and build on it. They're like building blocks, and so I think sometimes, I know that when I was going through it, what stopped me from getting clarity was because I wanted to just build. And I felt that if I built, like what you said, your friend, if I build makeup, but I want to be this over here.
Yes.
Like, yeah, I get you want to do that, but before you do that, you have to build some type of solid brand. Start with the makeup and then move to the actresses and actors, or then move to whatever you're going to do where you're making your own makeup line instead of just jumping straight to the makeup line. And so I like that perspective. You're playing on your strengths and then you build on it. I always say line upon line, precept upon precept.
Yes, and create with a purpose. That's very important. Create with a purpose. Don't just create for creating's sake. Create with the end goal, and that comes with planning. Very recently, this is new to me, may not be new to others, but I had my husband get some dry erase paint, and I literally dry erase painted an entire wall in my office. And it was just amazing to me because I had notepads all over the place where I was writing things, or I had things in my Evernote. I had notes everywhere. But now I can see it right in front of me on a wall. It's huge. And you just can just start creating from there, because you can make your plan clear so you can see it, and you can just keep knocking it out. So yeah, no, it has been awesome being here. I'm excited that I had an opportunity to talk with you and the viewers. And you guys know where to reach me. Facebook, Instagram, check out my website. Like I mentioned before, I have a course coming out next month and that's for newbies to entrepreneurship, to help you become a CEO in 30 days. So I'm looking forward to connecting with you guys.
Well, definitely, please, definitely send that course once it's done. I can always resend it out to anybody, and make sure that it's on this interview, so that way everybody has full access to it.
Absolutely.
And, I love that chalkboard idea. I'm
Yeah.
actually relocating my office, and we're going to have a complete loft upstairs. It's an
Oh, that's
attic
amazing.
loft. Oh my God, I'm so excited. It's like that creative space, so it'll have my studio area and everything. So I will definitely be doing that. And then I have to hide everything because I already know my children. They're gonna want to color. So I'm gonna have to find the biggest whiteboard because I love those whiteboards.
Aren't they amazing? Yeah, they're so amazing.
I know, it's just really cool. All right, so guys, we're ending this interview. Thank you so much, Bianca, for coming on. So much clarity, so much stuff in here, good stuff. Re-listen to it. Listen to it in your car. There's a lot of nuggets that you can pull from this. And if you take one and apply it once a week for 7 days, you can really develop a consistency that is going to be phenomenal. And I call it chunking things down into bite-sized, applicable ways that you're going to be able to really get the best out of it and see the best daily results ever. All right. So, did you say something?
I know, I said absolutely.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, guys, my name is Tanya Patxot, also known as the Truthpreneur. I help you simplify your life and streamline your business. Very excited that you were able to join me for another moment of truth on Igniting Clarity.